Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining another session on Canadian MVP. So I'm with one of my best friend, bro Rahat, top 30 best AI architect or a Microsoft AI MVP. Very few AI MVP. And today we were in continuation of our last topic where we talk about Gen AI for solution and Microsoft Fabric. We will be doing demo. Thank you. And we got 60 comments on our last video that keep us motivated. Our objective as MVP is to contribute to the community, share to the community about our knowledge, and that's why we are here. Anything you want to add, Raj?
You have perfectly explained everything, and thank you so much for attending. And as Deepak said, we are doing a series of sessions on Microsoft Fabric and generative AI based tools. So in our session, we gave a lot of demos on prompt flow, model catalog, RAG, enterprise LLM, and just to continue that journey today, we will also go more deeper into LLM ops, how to use it, why to use it, and Deepak will also give a demo of Fabric. So let's take a look at that.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward for Gen AI demo because that is something we required from enterprise perspective as well to build our skill set. So thank you so much again. Uh, I'm joined by Rahat Yasi from Montreal, and I'm Deepak Kaushik from Windsor, Ontario, and we will talk about this topic. And thank you. Thank you so much. Let me switch over my screen and we will show demo. Okay, so first and foremost, if you guys have to start Fabric, you would be saying, "Hey Deepak, how we could create Fabric?" So basically, if you go and type Fabric over here, you will land up to the Microsoft Fabric, and you could create your capacity. However, you require organizational account. I do have that account, but I just want to showcase you this thing. You could sign up for a free trial as well. So basically, at any point of time, you could sign up and look for those. So just consider that those are the options. So once you log in into the Fabric, you will see as we look over, it is the unified solution over here. So you will find everything for Power BI, find insight, track, for visualization and analytics, data factory for ETL, data activator in data science, synapse, etc., etc., and for real-time analytics up to 1 GB to 1 PB. That is so incredible. And you look over all those things, and this is available for us. And in case you require any further detail, you could go into Microsoft Fabric's documentation and look over. Just FYI, Microsoft Fabric's event is happening on Las Vegas from March 26 to 28. Me and Rahat, we will be attending MVP Summit soon as well. You could go and, if possible, join that as well, and you will get all those options on Synapse Warehouse and basically Fabric and Copilot. Holy cow, this is another interesting thing. And that drag a lot of attention. If you don't know Copilot, like Copilot, use explain them in simple language what need to be required, and that is always in simple language. For example, for Power BI, if you use Copilot and write, "Hey, I need a time sheet detail for my team for last 5 days or so," and you're able to do that. So having said that, this will be so good and you could look over that. Okay, so for fabrics, this is your fabrics. When your fabric is landed, you will find so many details over here. And in fabrics, you could see all those detail and you could click and look over different options. What are the options we have? First option is Power BI. If you click over here, you will look for Power BI. In Power BI, you could see various data sets, and you look reports from various reports, cyber security dashboard, and what else requirement you have required. So you look over all those things, and that is required over here. Uh, you have those capability to look over those things, and you could further go back and look over another options we had. So another is the data factory. What are the different data factory we had available? You could look over those data factory detail as well. So as I said, say like you could create new report, you could paste or enter manually data here, whatever data you need to provide, or you could pick and publish semantic data model, whatever you require. For my test perspective, I have this test and auto create report, and it will create a report for me immediately. So basically, I'm not boiling the ocean over here. I have everything, and I forgot to mention you could leverage your free trial as well. While it is publishing, let's go to another options. Of data factory. You could use different data factory, and if you did not gone through my uh previous session where me and Raha talk about give the fundamentals of different things. Please go through that. That is so helpful. And certainly you could look over that as well. So in Data Factory, you could leverage those. We have data science and data warehousing. For data warehouse, we have Synapse Data Warehouse. It is taking some time, and initially it will take some time. So that is pretty much okay, and you could create or browse. So this browse is your, you know, your repository over here. You could see the different workspace, whatever I have different workspace. You could also look for my workspace, untitled reports as well. And this is one lake which could be leveraged over here. So once you have all those options, you could build your pipeline over there and look over from different perspective. Couple of things, as I mentioned, it is taking time for me, and because it has so many things. So you could look over sample report and whatnot, and for example, for test demo, you could go over here and look over those things. We have data warehousing as well, where we could see different warehouse and data pipeline. For example, uh, we could click and look for data warehouse and different pipelines. You could see I have so many different things available over here. And this is the test demo workspace, and I could look over this. It is taking time. Look like it is I need to refresh it, but you could see I have test demo and various demo which I have done, and you could browse it from here, and you could look over what is shared to me, and different things. So basically, the beauty of this is you could leverage fabrics not only for one activity. You have so many things, and as I mentioned, one drive is which that is available over to your machine. If you want to build your knowledge base, what is Fabric, I will highly recommend go into the Microsoft Fabric documentation. How to get start for free, you go over here as well. For security and governance model, what you could do, how you leverage, we could also look over. Feel free to start your trial over here, which I have also done for my personal account. And you could, at any point of time, cancel your trial as well. You could build various signups, like this is my KQL database, which I'm doing that, and it's saying upgrade, and um, it is assigned to me. And for example, if I have to create, so I will test the demo, uh, test demo March 24. So I have to create it, and you could create it from new database, or you could create it shortcut database. As soon as you did, your KQL database will be ready. If you have to do event streaming, sometime it, I would say, take some time. You could load sample data. Like you could, for example, we are doing right now for stock analysis, it will load that data into your KQL so we could analyze it. Along with, if you have some requirement of doing it for streaming data, you could leverage it with IoT as well. So now we have data loaded, which we did right now, and we could build Power BI report. And as soon as we build Power BI report, it will build from this data immediately. So that is the beauty of it, and we could leverage. Hey, what we want to do. I don't want. Let me keep it very simple right now, and find. I will use the this matrix, and I will say okay, build it. So it is very engaging for any analytics team as well. I'm not going on detail, and you could explore your data as well, and you look over different things. So if you want to query your data, you could say, "Hey, show me top 100 result of it," and you know, uh, it will execute, and it will showcase you the different things. So all those things are available over here. You could save your query data set, and whatever the result you get for 100 stocks, you will get that. You could look over the different stats available here. So basically, if you look, we are doing it real time while we speak, right? Uh, we could check over the stats. It write the query for me. It generate the JSON file for me, and you could look over those. So that is the beauty of it. And you could click on build Power BI report. I'm not going to do it. Sometimes it take more time. You're able to, look over from different perspective. So exactly, if you look over here, you can take a look, and you could look over from view perspective as well. So that is how easy it is to build. And if you need to further populate data, you could use, maybe local file, Azure storage, Amazon S3, Event Hub, Event Stream, OneLake, everything you could do from here, and keep your data. So this very high level dashboard is available. If you have any mappings, it will reflect the mapping over here. For one lake perspective, you could see test demo 24 is available over here. So it has owner name, my name, and the different demo which I have done so far. So it has all those kind of details. For SQL endpoint downstream, I could showcase you this demo which is available here. It is available onto my workspace, and with connection string is also available, so we could refer. We have also monitoring hub where we could use it for different peoples, for different semantic models, etc. And at any point of time, as I shared earlier, like you consider it your personal drive, it is available here. So to create anything, again, you don't need to boil the ocean. If you have to create the lake house, you say create lake house and say test demo. Today is March 10, test demo, March 10, March 10, and that is that is pretty much you are creating your new lake house, and your new lake house is created. So basically, in this case, once your lake house is created, if you need table, what you could do, create new tables, and you could upload a file. I could upload a file from my local machine, local different things, local repository. You could upload. It is so easy, and you could certainly do that. Different things over here. So, and otherwise, you could create new workflow for Gen 2, prep, clean, transform, and ingest data. So it is so easy. Okay, what we need to do, we are creating data flow here. So basically, in this case, we are creating everything from beginning and import from Excel. If you have some Excel, you could, browse the Excel, upload the files, and it will ask what file you need to be created. So basically, those things are available. Uh, you could use Dataverse, Power Platform, Web API, SQL, etc. So that is so important. You could import from SQL Server. You could import from different data flow. So I would say we could see like it is so easy to build within this space, and that is so incredible. That's why it say it is unified level. We look over various pipeline, we look over various data science perspective to get the predictive insights, and we look over the various Apache Spark options for data engineering, we look over the data activate. So all those options are available. So I highly recommend you go to your portal, create Microsoft Fabric over there, and that would be so helpful. Having said that, I'm handing over to Rahat for his another session, demo as well, and he will be taking it further. Thank you, Rahat.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Deepak bro, for that intuitive presentation. We learned a lot for sure. How to use the tool, how to process it, what are the use cases, and everything. Okay. As we said, we are continuing a series on LLM, OpenAI, all those enterprise LLM side. So in our this series, we will talk about enterprise LLM ops. What is it, and how can you make your LLM smarter to make it like more intuitive, like understand the context for you based on your use cases, and what can you do? What is the process? So the first thing is LLM ops. We have heard like ML ops these days, but what is LLM ops actually? So, large language model ops encompasses the process, techniques, and tools used for the operational management of the large language models in production environment. So, when we take the LLM, put it into production, we manage that one, we uh, maintain the full LLM lifecycle. We call it LLM ops, that end-to-end process. So what is the difference? What is the difference between ML ops and LLM ops? So you can see this is the process flow of ML ops. So we prepare the data first, then we build and train the model, then we deploy that model, and then the last one is we monitor the model. In this process, sometime based on the issues regarding the model, we retrain the model, so which goes back to the build and train. And in each section for the data preparation, we need to like do the registry of the data set. We need to transform the data. We need to do the data wrangling. Under the build and train, we do feature engineering. We do the model and algorithm selection. We train the model. We test the model. We do hyperparameter tuning. And on the deployment section or like the operationalization section, we validate the model, package the model, deploy the model, inference, design the inference API, and then production data store. And the last thing is, once it is in the production, we try to detect data drift. We always monitor the model health. We always monitor the infrastructure health, and we do the A/B testing. And then whenever we have a new model based on that cases, and then we retrain the model. So this is the enterprise ML ops looks like. Now the LLM ops. The only difference is you see LLM and ML ops is the build and train. Everything else is quite same. So on the LLM ops, we need to do the dataset registry, whatever dataset we are using to train it. We need to do some basic data transformation sometime to convert them into the right data format, into the right structure, organize it. and remove some of the bad data. Bad data, if you're training an LLM on some English language, if you have random Spanish, French, or other language, it's better to separate that one unless you are training a massive language combining different types of languages. And then do the data wrangling as well, understanding more about the data, the context of the data that you're providing. But the key difference is in the build and train section. You can see instead of feature engineering, model selection, train and test, what we are doing here in terms of like LLM ops, we are selecting the base model. It can be GPT Turbo 3.5, GPT-4. It can be like Da Vinci, a text embedding based on like whatever we need. We select the base model. We do the prompt engineering based on our requirements. We do the fine tuning on our sample data set, and we do the RAG. We can SQL, NoSQL, or some other types of like data sources, PDFs or document type, as a extra like a data set to bring more context to the LLM model. And then in this process, we always do hyperparameter tuning. We also set up repeatable pipeline to do the same iteration more and more to get more context to the LLM model. So this is the key difference in between ML ops and LLM ops. When we deploy that one, we need to validate model, package the model, deploy the model, build the inference API, and then have the production data stored so that in production, whenever someone is using that LLM model, we store all those like information into the production so that we can apply content filtering, data filtering, or production monitoring, something like that. Into the once the model is operationalized and deployed, we go into the monitor section, and under the monitor part, we go for data drift detection, model health monitoring, infrastructure monitoring. Then we go for A/B testing and retraining. So it's a similar process you see. The key difference is the build and train. But these are the two key very powerful words that we see these days, terminologies: ML ops and LLM ops. In ML ops for AI world or machine learning model training, deployment, like monitoring, and LLM ops is for large language model training, deployment, usage, and monitoring. Now the question is, why do we need LLM ops? So what is the purpose? We can just like do something basic POC, deploy it, and then done. No, that's not how the enterprise level works. You need to like maintain the LLM development lifecycle. So without the LLM ops, you cannot have that lifecycle. If you want to have faster model and pipeline development, have that type of like efficiency on a larger scale, you need to have LLM ops, because you can have multiple model, multiple pipeline for multiple use cases. So LLM ops is the perfect way of handling those efficient way of like pipeline. For scalability, if you want to have like a vast scalability and management where tons of models are working, and you don't want to like manually manage the infrastructure, manually do the pipelining, automate all in the entire process, you need to introduce LLM ops. Risk reduction. So what LLM ops also like provide is less risk, more safety, more transparency, more regulation, ways to detect the drift and monitor the activities of your LLM model as well. So without that one, you can be liable for your LLM's bad responses. Your LLM can give a harmful response, hallucinated response, like sexual or bad, like unverified data source response as well, responses from the unverified data sources. So if you have the LLM ops, you can add content filtering, you can have a proper regulatory monitoring, you can do data filtering as well in that process. So, what are the LLM ops component? If we do a quick review, we apply exploratory data analysis before training the model. So that is a component of the LLM ops. We prepare the data, we do the prompt engineering, which is a part of the LLM ops. We fine tune the model, we introduce RAG, we review the model and introduce governance of that model, how that model will be governed in a production environment. We deploy the model for model inferencing and serving as well, so that we can actually use it from web, mobile, or other chatbot kind of application. We monitor the model with the human in the loop so that Yes, content filtering can monitor a lot of things, but for different time, we need to add more threshold. We need to add more boundaries, and LLM ops can help us with those boundaries and thresholds as well. Okay, now the question is, we learned about enterprise LLM part, we learned about LLM ops, we learned about like the LLM ops components, but how can we make our model smarter or LLM more smarter, give it more context? So there are three ways. There are three ways to make our LLM faster, smarter, and give more context. So the first one is prompting, or we call it prompt engineering. It is important. It is not like the way a few months ago, 6 months or 1 year ago, the way we were hearing about prompt engineering. It will be a like new job sector will emerge. No, it's not that glorified, but as when you are using LLM, you need to give more context to the LLM. So prompting or prompt engineering is the way to give the context to the LLM. It's a basic giving the description of the job, giving the more expectation, giving more detail regarding who you are preparing that request and response for. So it is done by the prompting. Then the fine tuning, how you're expecting the result, how you're expecting the response, fine tuning, giving it more with more examples, more context. So that is the fine tuning of the base like LLM model. And the last one and very important one is RAG. So LLM doesn't know where its data is coming from. It just like use the data to get trained, but it can also like hallucinate sometime, give bad information sometime. We will talk about that one in the next slide. But RAG or retrieval augmented generation can give more solid cited like information, so that when an LLM use those as a reference, it can also like show the citation. Oh, I got this information from this data source, SQL source, no SQL source, or document, so that the responses are more trustworthy, and you can also like use it without having any doubt. So what is the process? How much outside knowledge you need and how much domain knowledge you need to make those your LLM more smarter? So few things you need to know. Access to current info from RAG, and if you want to get access to regarding current information regarding your use case, you need to provide RAG and fine tuning. If you want to give specific information about certain use cases, you need to provide RAG. If you want to reduce hallucination, then you need to give more context, like giving using RAG and prompt engineering. And if you want to do content traceability or content filtering, you need to provide known content sources as RAG. You should not just use publicly scrap data sources for your LLM. So these are some of the like a key process to make your LLM smarter. But again, if you look at this like a quick like table which shows left like x skew represent the outside knowledge, and y skew represent this sorry, y skew represent the outside knowledge, and x1 represent the domain knowledge. So you need less domain knowledge and less outside knowledge for prompt engineering. You need more domain knowledge, but less outside knowledge for fine tuning, because the domain is just like it's just basic, and then outside you're not providing anything new data. It's just like based on the data that you have, how the request and response will be, what should be the structure. So that's how you're organizing it. But when you combine fine tune and RAG, which means you will have more domain knowledge and more outside knowledge. Fine tune provides the domain knowledge, and RAG provides the outside knowledge. But you, when you just do the RAG, which means you are providing more outside knowledge, but no change in the domain knowledge section. So ideal is to use fine tune and RAG and some prompt as well, prompt engineering. But again, you can see different types of like ways to make your LLM smarter from the right section. Okay, so what are the key issues that we see in LLM? So the first issue we see is misinformation, wrong or biased answer. Can be because of like insufficient prompt engineering. If you do not do proper prompt engineering, it can give you wrong information, completely out of context or completely biased. Intrinsic hallucination and extrinsic hallucination. There are two types of hallucination issues we see: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic is fabricated content. So you have asked something to LLM, it doesn't know the answer. It can combine two or three data sources, or the information that it has, fabricate a data, and then give you some information. So as it's intrinsically creating some new data from from inside multiple data sources, we call it fabricated. It's just like Krim randomly making up, and we call it intrinsic hallucination. And extrinsic hallucination, so as we use sometimes unverified sources as a training data of the LLM, or online web blog sites or websites, or like different types of like online crawled data. So extrinsically, LLM can be trained on those unverified content and can give you those unverified information, which can be considered as an extrinsic hallucination. So a LLM, without understanding the importance of the question or the context, is just giving you some like a random result, which is not right. So that's why we call it like extrinsic hallucination. So hallucination, how do we handle that hallucination? Hallucination can be reduced by increasing more training data, involving contextual references, and involving RAG as well, retrieval augmented generation. And one thing you need to know, LLMs are non-deterministic. So same prompt, if you use it multiple times, and the chances are you will get different types of answers every time. So LLM are not deterministic, so they are not going to give you the same response every time. No. So, so where can we use Gen AI? Things Gen AI can do. What can it do? So is it like, if it has so many bad inside, misinformation, intrinsic hallucination, extrinsic hallucination, we cannot just trust LLM response. We need to add content filtering, data filtering, give more context. So what is the use case? There are certain very like important use cases that we can use LLM for. First one is summarize a lot of information. If we have a lot of like a big document, PDFs, words, or we don't have time to read it, we just need the summary, or we have a bunch of like automation, workflow automation, which requires a summary or some sort of text classification, we can use LLM for like summarization of the information. We can perform better, like a GenAI can do better with the augmented context, which is RAG based, or retrieval augmented generation. We can use it as a coding assistant. It's not going to replace data developers. No, I do not believe that. But developers can use LLM to create a structure of a code, initial version, or create some like a solution search, or that kind. It can be supported by other software process like backend API communication services for better performance as well. And it can be a good like source to augment your own knowledge base to your users, like creating a bot on a wiki, bot on a document library, bot on a CRM, or bot on a content management tool, CMS, or something like that. Things generative AI cannot do. So we also need to know, when we are listening at things it can do, we also need to know the other side, things it cannot do. It cannot be certain about anything. So that's one of the most important part. And it's also funny, hallucination is a big problem. It cannot be certain, and we need to that's why we need to add those content filtering, RAG, more sources, fine tuning, prompt engineering, so that it's more acceptable, it's more reusable, and it's more usable actually. It cannot figure out new things but on its own. So no, RAG helps, but it doesn't alter underlying model itself. It cannot create new things. It can take a bunch of information, combine them, create new combination, create new mix up of create new data representation by mixing up different similar content, but it cannot create anything by itself. It cannot figure out anything new by itself. Can't be certain if another content was created by GenAI or not. So this is another interesting one. GenAI doesn't know. If you give a generate something with ChatGPT and give it to ChatGPT again, and ask, oh, is it created by ChatGPT? Chances are high it's going to be wrong, because it doesn't know what is the pattern of ChatGPT. It cannot properly cite its own source of information. So when you train it on those like basic models, if it is it just like gets trained. Sometime it just like a mashup of information. Sometimes it's from different sources. So if you ask, something to ChatGPT and then ask, where are you getting this information from? Yeah, it doesn't know. It can hallucinate. It can like give a wrong information, but it cannot tell you the source of that information. In that case, that's why we use emphasis on drag so that you know the source of the information. And then the most important one, Gen AI cannot take your job yet, has no way to proactively learn for itself. But again, the generative AI workflows can do a lot of things we are doing. So it can replicate basic human activities like customer solution, customer service kind of like work. So that can be replaced in certain extent, but not completely for sure. We are not there yet. So some of the examples of generative AI application, we can use it for writing assistant, technical, creative writing, general editing, documentation, programming. We can use it for information retrieval, like search engine support, conversational recommendation, document summarization, text interpretation, etc. We can use commercial customer support, machine translation, automation, workflow, knowledge test, business management, medical diagnosis based or screening based tools as well. And for individual use cases that I use for productivity support, Q&A, brainstorming, education, problem solving, text writing support as well, we can use it like heavily for sure. Most important one is, don't forget, Gen AI is not the only AI. So there are other types of AI that you need to focus, computer vision based AI, or like classification, regression, time series forecasting based, pattern detection, unsupervised clustering, other types of like supervised classification. So they are more important. So I will suggest you to explore those as well if you're designing, if you're interested to build your career in AI. But again, I have some question for you. So if you enjoyed watching this series where we showed a lot of demos, we talked about enterprise LLM, we talked about enterprise RAG, we also talked about LLM ops, what is the difference between ML ops and LLM ops, what are the use cases of LLM ops, what are the issues of LLM ops, how can you make your LLM smarter. Now my question to you, where are you planning to use Gen AI? So write in the comment section or answer it. Are you using Gen AI tools every day, or you are using it already in your day-to-day activities? Do you think Gen AI will take over our jobs? Take our jobs. So what do you think? Share your comments. Share your opinion on the comment section. And what is the most exciting use case you are trying to solve with Gen AI? Share it as well so that we all can learn from each other. And thank you so much. Find me on LinkedIn, Rahat Yasir. And if you have any question, feel free to ask to me and Deepak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rahat. It's so interesting. And yeah, we are here as a community and we want to talk about uh, the technology which will transform our life, which is indeed industry looking forward. And we as a brand ambassador of technology, we could certainly talk about it. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. We are looking forward to see you in next episode of Microsoft MVP Summit. Microsoft MVP, Canadian MVP, so sorry. Not next week, it is the MVP Summit, so that take over my mind. And we have another guest, fellow MVPs, Microsoft uh, employees. We will that those are also joining us. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye for
Thank you
now.
so much. Bye.